Hello and welcome to lesson 8. This is lesson 8 of Doodle with Della. It's my online doodling course. Welcome along. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. Let me just finish setting up things here and I'll wait for people to arrive because I know some people are going to doodle along live with us today. But do welcome along and do say hello in the comments. And so I can just see numbers, so let me know where you're watching from. Wonderful. So this is a live lesson, so if you're watching it live you can ask questions. I'm just setting up my phone so I can see your questions as they come in. If I get engrossed in doodling I may not see them, so bear with me, it might take me a few minutes to get back to you. Let me just wait for this to refresh so I can watch along. There we go. Turn the sound down. Excellent, so this is grid number 8. I hope you've got a pen and paper handy so you can doodle along with me. I'll be starting in just a minute or so. And you have a drink. I've just got water to start off. To be honest, it's not been that long since my morning cup of tea, so I've switched to water again. But yeah, so this is grid number 8. This has been available on my website to download since Monday morning, and I'll be teaching you some tips on how to draw these 4 doodles. So the aim of the worksheet is, once you've mastered those 4 doodles, is to each square to combine the doodle on the top and the doodle on the side to make a new doodle in between. So I will have a look at that and some tips, and then I'm going to add some more doodles to my doodle artwork, which is called she's called Hope. She's looking lovely. So yes, I'll be adding some doodles onto there to show you, and also we'll be having a little chat about how to frame your work and how to sort of tackle those big projects and ideas that you could take your doodling and make something really spectacular. So yes, so I think we'll get started. Do say hello in the comments and let me know you're watching. So yes, grab a pen and paper. So let me start. So I start with these pens. If you've been seeing the previous lessons, so these are my favourite pens, the Unipin fine liners. They come in different sizes. So the number on the side is the thickness of the nib. So I generally start with a 0.2. And I'll start off. So I'm going to start off with the brick wall. So this starts off with lots of straight lines, as most of my doodles do. So again, make sure you've got the paper at a comfortable angle. There's no point trying to get round into tight places. Always move the paper so that your arm's comfortable, and that way you can draw a series of straight lines. Nice, confident, quick strokes will give you nice straight lines. You can practice this. Yes, sort of slow and hesitant will look more messy, but nice and confident strokes will do. So start off by taking one line and just dividing it into rectangles. So you want to make sure they're not squares, you want to go lightly over to rectangles. Okay, and then the next line you just want to find the midpoint between the 2 lines above and draw that one in. And then you can just decide whether the ones on the end appear. And then the next line you copy the one above, so you like an imaginary line going down. Okay, so it's up to you. Whether you might find it quicker to do all the ones like missing a line and adding in these ones, or you might like to keep it So you're finding the midpoint each time. Add it in. It's a nice simple brickwork pattern. And then if you're filling in an unusual shape, just make sure you extend the lines where they would be going to the edge. It's not, even though it's a lovely neat brick wall, you actually want to fill the area completely like that. Excellent, so that's the brick wall, nice and simple. Next one we're going to look at is called white bubbles. So this one does take a bit of time. I'm going to keep it quite small, so I'm not colouring in for a long time. But it starts off by drawing the big bubbles. Okay. So you can draw them quite close together. Now, let me see if I can do one. Right, so if you see here, so the trick here is that if your circle doesn't quite match, remember that it's the white inside that you're keeping. We've done a doodle before, the cow prints, where it's black circles on a white background, but this is the reverse. So where you've got where you're trying to make a white perfect circle, and you go wrong, then you can just draw a line over. This can get messy, doesn't matter, because you're going to colour it all in black anyway. And the same on some of these others, so you can spend a bit of time just neatening up and you're not happy with. I'll do that there. There we go. So once you've got the large circles, you've got sort of your area covered. Remember, if you're drawing, let me just put some pencil lines in. If you're drawing a doodle in a unusual shape, then remember you can add in some big ones that are coming off the page. Like that. So it's worth putting in quite a few big bubbles, because the more you do that, the less colouring you're doing, which helps. So once you've got the big ones, then go back through and add in some smaller ones. So same applies. You can add in little ones from the edges. If you go wrong, just make sure it's a white circle in the middle. Okay, and then you can take it down another level. It might feel like this is extra work, but the more you put in, the less you're colouring. So you can, and even though these are feel like they're quite close together, once you colour them in, they suddenly look further apart. So add what you can in. So once you've done that, all the sort of the design side of it, you can then switch to a, maybe not there, switch to a thicker pen. So I'm going to jump up to 0.8, and this is when you can just blissfully switch off and just colouring all the areas around the circles. And what's nice about this one, if you go wrong, you can always just colour over the circle completely, or you can just make it a smaller circle. You can control what the edge of each circle looks like. And if you haven't got a thicker pen like this, you can do it with this smaller one. It will just take a bit longer. Or if you have got big enough areas, a black Sharpie pen, or test out other black felt tip pens. Sometimes black isn't always black, and it looks a bit pale against the fine liner. But experiment and find something that works. And then, so when you get to the actual edge of the shape, that's when you want to be carefully colouring along the line. Like that. So like I say, I'm not going to do all of this, otherwise we'll run out of time. But it is a slow doodle and it builds up, but it is very striking once it's done. I've got a big section in the in Hope. I'll just show that to you. It's quite addictive. So I'll just finish that bit. But it's nice because you can have a section of this on a doodle. You don't have to sit and do it in one go. It's kind of, you can come back and pick it up at any point and just add some more colour to it. So let me have a show you on Hope. Let me see that. So this section here. So it's quite a nice one to go around a shape, because I can pick and choose where those circles appear, so that shape is quite well defined. Like the tip of the curl of hair is on a black background. So it's a really nice effect. Excellent. So the next doodle we're going to look at is this one, which I was stuck naming this one, but it does remind me of feathers. So I've called it feather stripes. I've called it 'cause I think it has that texture of feathers. Although I know that if you're asked to doodle feathers, it probably look very different. But I like this one. So we've got some nice big straight lines. They say straight. There's a slight curve to them, and then you want what was it? So you want the gap alternates between a slightly larger gap, slightly smaller gap, slightly larger gap, slightly smaller gap, and you can add extra curves in there. You can do as you wish with this one. So in the slightly larger gaps, let me just do one more. So in the slightly larger ones, so if you want to mark with a pencil, you can, just so that you keep track of which one is and which one isn't. Then you can mark the alternate sections. So the larger sections is where we're going to add the stripes to. And then for the first one, we're going to do a diagonal, so from one side to the other. And it's up to you how fine you do this, how close they are together. You could even switch to a thinner pen, add more to it. And then the next one, we're going to change the diagonal. So if we've gone, that one's gone that way, the next one is going to be this way. So just drawing the two large lines together, add lots of little diagonals. Okay, and then the next one we change again. So again, I probably move my paper for the last one. This is a nice comfortable one. I think I did that on an awkward angle. But yeah, where you've got time, always rotate your paper. This one's a little bit larger. Let's follow my own advice. Rotate the paper. Oh, that's much easier. It's much easier to control the pen and make sure you reach from one line to the other. Oh, that's another thing. If you do find it quite difficult to join up, going over these lines doesn't matter. It's just the way. You'll just have a different doodle. It'll just look quite funky. Or you can use a thicker pen to do the lines across, and then it'll be easier to stay within the lines when you're going back and forth. So kind of like where your eyes catch it, they look like they're different shades because of the different angles. That's a really nice effect. Wonderful. So the last doodle we're going to look at today is this one, which I've called it Flower Arcs. It's kind of like the most decorative doodle out of the set that we've learnt, and it is very sweet, very twee. So it starts off with, let's get the angle of the paper right, starts off with some wide arches, so keep them quite far apart because you want room to draw in them. Okay. And then with this pen, what we're going to do, so we do little M's, lumps across, just bouncing up from the arch. And then for the sticks, I switched to a thinner pen, and I'm going to turn it around so that I'm drawing them away from the arcs. And then each time the arc reaches the little M's meet the arc, I'm going to draw 3 lines coming out quite so what's the opposite of not controlled, if you know what I mean? Quick, like more like brush strokes even. And just bring them out in a little spray of 3. So you want to try and aim for the 3 ends of it to be quite far apart. Because you want to have room to draw 3 dots on top. There we go. And then I'm going to go back to the 2, and then this is where it's like, wow, it's going to take a long time. But on each of the little lines you've just drawn, you draw a little dot. So a slightly thicker pen just makes it a bit quicker. And you want to hit the top of the dot. It's quite fine. So again, at this point, you don't have to think. That's what I love when doodles become just working through the process and not actually making decisions about what line goes where and that kind of thing. You're just literally just following the instructions and just adding a dot to every one. And so where it's like the lines have been quite haphazard, it means it ends up being quite an organic feel to like the little flowers as they are. Excellent. Wonderful. So that is the 4 doodles that we're looking at. I'm just going to quickly, because I know we did that lost a recap from last week, and we looked at using a pencil and a blender to add some depth to your doodles. I'm just going to show you that technique again on here. So on this one, on the feathers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pencil. So this is a soft pencil, this is 3B, so it smudges really easily. And I use this tool to smudge it. It just saves my fingers from getting really mucky, which is good when you're handling lots of white paper. So yes, I'm going to add a little line, and it's going to be in the white section. Okay, so it's that side of the feather stripe. I'm just going to add a little line, pencil, which I'm going to do on both sides. Doesn't have to be too neat. We're going to smudge it anyway. So the good thing about there's loads of different ways of adding shading to doodles, but basically if you pick whatever rule you want to use and then just keep repeating it. So like for this one I'm shading on the white lines. I could have shaded on the striped lines instead, but if you just repeat whatever you decide to do, repeat it for the whole doodle and it will create one effect. And then if you do the doodle again, you could shade it differently and you just get a different effect to the doodle. So now I've got the smudger, which is, it's like compressed paper, and to a point. I'm going to take that point, I'm going to rub it on the pencil line, and what I'm hoping to achieve is a sort of a gradient from there. I just need to do the other side of it. A gradient from 2 shaded sides to a pale part in the middle. Now I think from the last week, I know I don't think the shading comes up on the video that well. Excuse me. So I'll take a close-up photo of this and add it to the comments once the video is finished. And I haven't mentioned that you probably already know, but during the live videos you can't add photo comments. But once I've published the video, once I've finished the live and published it, you will be able to add photos. So if you have been doodling along, please take a photo, take a little quick snap and add it to the comments below. I'd love to see what you've created, and if you've got any questions or I can give you any tips on them. So I've just got a little bit of a white gap there I'm going to get rid of. so you get the a bit more depth on the different lines, which is good fun. Wonderful. Right, so that's our doodles done from today. If you've got any questions, just check the comments. Yes, so let's have a look at adding some to Hope. Move that way. So I've added a couple of the ones from today already. What ones haven't I added? Actually, I don't think I've done this flower arcs yet, so I think I might add some flower arcs. Let me find. It's getting more and more difficult to find a suitable section to doodle in these ones. So let's go for. Oh, I have done it there. Yeah, you can see it there. Let's put it in again down here, and I'll just show you the difference of doing it in an unusual shape. So I'm going to start by adding my arcs. And then kind of guess where they would be if the shape was open. And I'm going to twist the paper again to add my M's. So you'll probably be able to tell that I won't be able to finish Hope today as my plan. My plan was for her to be finished when we finish the course, but she won't quite be done, so I'll keep adding to her and have her finished and framed on the wall before too long, and I'll keep you updated with how she's looking. Right, so I'm going to turn it around the other way and switch to a thinner pen and add in and just add the dots. And then I'm going to have, so I think there's 4 people have completed this grid, and I'm going to get a new doodle from them to incorporate into this. Excellent. And done. So let me have a quick look. I've got from Sarah, if you're still watching. You see, this is Sarah's grid number 8. So yes, I think I want to try and recreate this one with the lines, with the brickwork in the lines. Let's find a suitable place to put that. Let's go with this one here. Annoyingly, this one I wasn't quite happy with the swirl, so I've rubbed it out and drawn it again, so I need to be careful of what, make sure I get the right angles. So I'm going to follow this curve, I think. And then, so I'm going to do, how many stripes have I got there? So I might do the thicker ones actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. I'm going to draw this one as the stripes, and then miss one. That one, and then let's do this one as stripes going the other way, which I'm going to rotate the paper so that I can get a nice straight line. Let's continue that in the bit that you can't see. And then let's have a look at how to do these brick sections. Yeah, that's that indication of the brickwork there. Excellent. Okay, back. Wonderful. So I will keep adding to Hope, and I'm doing time-lapse videos of when I'm doodling, so that I should have it from start to finish, all time-lapsed, which will probably take about, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes, maybe, which will be a bit alarming. I'm going to try and estimate how long it takes. So far, I think it's taken probably about 6 hours, I'd say, 6-7 hours. I'm not particularly rushing with it, so I am enjoying doing each of the doodles. So it's not like I'm got a dead. Well, I did have a dead time to finish it. But yeah, so just to give you an indication, that if you are tackling a big project, do anticipate it taking a long time. But some smaller projects to start you off with, you can. So we've got so things I've done in the past. So I've made like a Christmas gift tag. So you can see the sampler in the background there, and some presents on top. Not drawn, by the way, they are stamped. I also have a Christmas card with the bauble doodled, and then these stamps have got extra doodles added to them, so that's a nice starter sets. And then we have the new doodle cards, colourful doodle flowers, and then the larger version in black and white as well. So again, so the background, this is all circles, if you can see, and then adding the doodles to the flowers as well. And you'll notice on those cards, all of them, I think all of them, maybe all are, they're all framed by a black frame. There's a reason for that, because what happens is the black frame it enhances the black of the doodles. So I would recommend, if you are going to frame your work, whether it's for a card or whether it's to go on the wall in your home, is to add a black border. You can do it quite thick or thin, And it just has that effect of bringing out the richness of the black doodles that you've drawn, and really ties it together. So yes, I certainly recommend a black border. Sorry, I realise you can't, got my angles slightly wrong. You can't see that corner. Come here. You turn that slightly. So I will be buying a lot. This is only an A4 sheet of black card, but I will be buying a large sheet to be able to mount Hope before putting her in a frame for the wall, which is exciting stuff. Also, for so some ideas for different designs to tackle for a big project. So I'd say anything like the gift tags or the cards. Obviously, you're giving them away, but if you do want to make something that you can keep and have on display, there are lots of ideas on Pinterest. I've got a Pinterest board full of different ideas where Hope came from, a similar idea of just half a face and the swirls of hair, but there's lots of beautiful ones, even just geometric patterns with circles, different square grids. I did decide, I was trying to work out how to best explain this to you, because I know it's very visual, but I thought showing you on the screen wouldn't really work very well, or printing them out seemed a bit excessive. Sorry, my voice is going. So what I'm going to plan to do is I'm going to add some pictures and links to ideas in the comments below when this live video is finished, so you can get some ideas. But there's so many beautiful things you can create, and once you've broken it down into just adding doodles to sections, it becomes child's play, because you've learnt the doodles, you know how to add them into awkward shapes. You can add the shading and make it even more spectacular. Yes. One I was going to mention, I will put a link to it, one that I saw, which I haven't done yet and I would love to do, is, I think I saw it was the UK. It would work really well in the US as well, but taking a map, so the outline of a map, the one I've seen is like an outline of the British Isles with all of the county lines marked on in pencil. So every county you're adding a different doodle to, and then for what the place where you live, or whether it's significant for where you came from or for other reasons, that particular one you doodle in a different colour. So you can doodle it in red. I have treated myself to a red doodle pen, which I haven't used yet. I'm very excited to. So that might be a project for the future. So that's red ink. Luckily it comes with a very obvious red nib, because I'd quite easily pick it up not knowingly, but I shouldn't be able to draw of it without realising. So yes, so that's some ideas, and I'll add some more photos to the comments below. But thank you so much for joining me through this creative journey. We've found that's 8 weeks with 8 worksheets and 8 live lessons, and adding to Hope every time. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you've learnt a lot and you've enjoyed making some beautiful doodles. Have a wonderful rest of day. Bye bye.